welcome to the blog report for Wednesday, December 10th. Let's see what the top tags are on Technorati's Blogger Central. Technorati Blogger Central, what's percolating in blogs today? News, politics, Barack Obama, free, business, media, news by RMC, Rod Blagojevich, Illinois, and music. We're going to talk about Ron Blagojevich. Governor Blagojevich of Illinois is the target and has been the target of a long-standing investigation on various charges of ethics violations. The two most famous and most recent ones are his attempt to have the entire, almost the entire editorial board of the Chicago Tribune fired by suggesting to the Chicago Tribune that if they wanted to sell their Wrigley Field Stadium, that if they wanted help from the governor's office, that they would then have to fire their editorial board and put someone in place that was, quote, more favorable to us, unquote. The other more recent ethics violation has to do with Governor Blagojevich's attempt to sell the Senate seat that he, as governor of Illinois, by law, has the right to appoint a successor to now President-elect Barack Obama to. Instead of doing it a clean way, like, for example, making it public and having a nice board, Blagojevich says, hey, you know what? This is gold to me. I want to try to get something for it, something of value. So he tries to put various people into play. The first person Governor Blagojevich tried to put into play was none other than Senator and now President-elect Barack Obama himself. You know, that was stupid. Allegedly, Blagojevich or his operatives go to Obama or his operatives and say, hey, you know what? We understand that you have a favorite, Valerie Jarrett, who is a longtime Obama advisor for the Senate position. But if you want me, as governor of Illinois, to put her in that position, you have to give me the following. A position on your cabinet, say in, for example, health, education, and welfare, or health and human services as it's now called, and a bevy of other opportunities from me. Basically, Obama or his operatives said, we will give you appreciation, which kind of reminds me of a line in a movie I once saw where the late girl says, well, what will you give me for what I do for you? And the response is respect. And he basically, reportedly, goes back and tells his aides, look, he's not going to give me anything other than appreciation. Bleep him. And as U.S. Prosecutor Patrick Fitzgerald said, he didn't say bleep. He said something else. And you can probably guess what that was. Boy, what an idiot. The other person that Blagojevich tried to put into play was Jesse Jackson Jr. And this element of the problem is a bit more dicey because it appears that by some reports, for example, the blog Gawker, that Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. of Illinois and Chicago reportedly offered to pay Blagojevich for the right to be named senator. And there's allegations of a kind of a feud between Congressman Jesse Jackson Jr. and President-elect Obama. I don't yet know what that's over. However, I didn't get any indication of the existence of a kind of feud when I met Jesse Jackson Jr. at the Democratic National Convention. It wasn't apparent. If there is something there, it's not simmering. I think that we have to give Jackson his opportunity, which is reportedly going to come in a few minutes, to respond to those allegations. He says that he was never involved in any pay-to-play scandal. We'll see what happens. And here is Jesse Jackson Jr. on CNN's The Situation Room, courtesy of CNN.
Well, the next time I introduce legislation, I hope all of you show up. I was shocked and saddened to learn that Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich was arrested yesterday by federal law enforcement officials. The details of corruption charges were staggering and stunning. If these allegations are proved true, I'm appalled by the pay-to-play schemes hatched at the highest levels of Illinois state government. I think that I can speak for all Illinois residents when I express outrage at the thought that Illinois' now vacant Senate seat may have been put up for sale, offered to the highest bidder. Sadly, yesterday's criminal complaint casts another dark cloud over a state already beleaguered by corruption and scandal. Clearly, the people of Illinois deserve better. They deserve to have their trust and their confidence in government restored. In light of yesterday's criminal indictment, I believe that the governor, in the best interests of our state, should resign and forfeit his authority to make the Senate appointment. The fact is, anyone appointed by the governor at this point would be too severely tainted to serve the state effectively and without suspicion in the United States Senate. Meanwhile, the governor's fate is in the hands of the justice system. We must allow that process to run its course. As it does, I want to address rumors and reports about me and my involvement in this process. I want to make this fact plain. I reject and denounce pay-to-play politics and have no involvement whatsoever in any wrongdoing. I did not initiate or authorize anyone at any time to promise anything to Governor Blagojevich on my behalf. I never sent a message or an emissary to the governor to make an offer, to plead my case, or to propose a deal about a U.S. Senate seat, period. I thought, mistakenly, that the process was fair, above board and on the merits. I thought, mistakenly, that the governor was evaluating me and other Senate hopefuls based upon our credentials and qualifications. Of those members of the United States Congress who have been mentioned as potential senators from Illinois, I have served longer than every one of them, except for Congressman Luis Gutierrez. I have more seniority. In the 13 years that I've served in the Congress of the United States, I've only missed 2 votes. And there's no Democrat and no Republican in the Congress of the United States who can say that. I thought mistakenly that the governor was going to make a decision in the best interest of our state as well as our nation. I thought mistakenly that the governor was considering me based on my 13 years of hard work on behalf of the people of our state as well as our nation. I thought mistakenly I had a chance and I was being considered because I had earned it. Clearly, I was badly mistaken. I did not know that the process had been corrupted. I did not know that credentials, that qualifications, that a record of service meant nothing to the governor. I did not know that the governor and his cronies were attempting to use the process to extort money and favors in a brazen pay-to-play scheme. I wanted to be considered for the appointment because I believe in public service. I believe that Illinois deserves another senator, serving alongside Senator Dick Durbin, who shares the values and will work to fix our economy, make our nation more energy independent, provide health care for all Americans, and provide our children with a world-class education, the values of the president-elect. That's what I shared with Governor Blagojevich on Monday, when I had the opportunity to meet with him for the first time in 4 years. I want to repeat that. I met with Governor Blagojevich for the first time in 4 years on Tuesday. I presented my record, my qualifications, and my vision. The media saw me enter the governor's office, and after a 90-minute meeting about my record, my qualifications, the media saw me exit Governor Blagojevich's office. Despite what he may have been looking for, that's all I had to offer. And that's what we discussed. To the people of Illinois, I want to thank you for the opportunity to serve you. I want to thank the thousands and thousands of people who supported me for the Senate, writing letters, making phone calls, sending emails, and circulating petitions. I want to thank the Chicago Sun-Times, the Chicago Defender, the Southtown Star, Indigo Magazine, the Kankakee City News for their editorial endorsements. I want to thank the business, labor, clergy, civic, and community leaders, and the thousands of honest, hardworking Illinois citizens who supported me. We did it right. They did it right. We pressed to make what would have been a private process a public process, that their voices might be heard. Know this: I spoke to the U.S. Attorney's Office on Tuesday. They shared with me that I am not a target of this investigation, and that I am not accused of any misconduct. In the days ahead, federal law enforcement officials want to meet and discuss what I know about the Senate selection process. I look forward to cooperating with the hardworking men and women of the United States Attorney's Office and the Justice Department. I look forward to sitting down with them and cooperating fully and completely under this federal investigation. I've retained the advice of legal counsel, Mr. James Montgomery Sr., who held his own press conference earlier this afternoon in Chicago. On his advice, and due to the ongoing investigation, I will not be taking any questions. But I do want to add one point before I leave. This morning I got a text message from my little sister, who told me that she was proud of me. She was proud of what I've done for this nation. In the 14 years that I've nearly served in this Congress, I've tried to honor this institution, and I've tried to honor public service because I believe that it is a noble profession. That is a profession that requires the highest possible sacrifice. It is public service, but it is private sacrifice. And so this morning she told me, Jesse Jr., I'm proud of you. That came from my little sister. And I felt that kind of pride over the last 2.5 years in our state. And I know this is a low moment for the people of our state. But watching the president-elect carry himself in such an extraordinary way across this country to build bridges that had never been built in this country, even I have become inspired. And so somewhere along the way, over the last 2.5 years, I got the idea that if a skinny kid with a funny name could be president of the United States, that a short kid with a somewhat controversial but certainly a high-profile name could be a senator from Illinois. I entered this process with that expectation, and I hope that the people of the state of Illinois and the people of our country will measure me based upon the content of my character. Thank you very much for having me.
Were you ever told or led to believe that you were going to get the job? Did anybody tell you or lead you to believe you were going to be appointed?
Congressman Jackson sounds like a person who's just really upset that his name is put out there by Governor Blagojevich in this way. In fact, he probably wishes he never met Governor Blagojevich after all this. I thought that Congressman Jackson should have said or given us a picture of what was discussed during that 90-minute meeting he had with Governor Blagojevich. That's a long time. But perhaps Congressman Jackson was instructed by his attorneys not to explain that. It's going to be interesting. But here's the other aspect of this, folks. We really don't know who Senate candidate number 5 is. Some blogs or news reports say that it's Congressman Jackson. Other blogs and news reports say it's not. And many say we don't know. Some point to Emil Jones, a current powerhouse in the Illinois legislature, and a noted mentor of now President-elect Barack Obama. We'll see. I love how the blogs are covering this. First of all, Jack Tapper of ABC News is trying like heck to spin this into something Obama did wrong. He goes back as far as 2002 to point to a relationship that Obama had when he endorsed Blagojevich for governor in 2002 and then again in 2006. And he didn't make a clear connection. In other words, there's nothing in endorsing a candidate that says that you endorse what that candidate is about to do in the future. So Tapper writes this sloppy blog that says nothing, and yet it's getting linked to in the blog sphere. Why? I don't know. Heck, maybe because of the fact that it's not saying anything. Like, for example, I'm talking about it, right? But the blog that I love is just absolutely hilarious. And the title of this particular blog is called Name That Goon. Tony Soprano, The Sopranos, or Governor Rod Blagojevich of Illinois. And it asks you to match the comment that this person made with the person, either Blagojevich or Tony Soprano. Listen to this. It's called Blogs and Stories by Benjamin Sarlin. It's time to play Name That Goon. Rod Blagojevich versus Tony Soprano. And he goes on. Hands on buzzers. One's a trash-talking thug trying to stay one step ahead of the law. The other was played by James Gandolfini. Can you identify the speaker of the 10 quotes below? 1. Unless I get something real good, blank, I'll just send it myself. You know what I'm saying? 2. What the blank am I? A toxic person or something? 3. Log off. That cookies blank makes me nervous. 4. They're not willing to give me anything except appreciation? Blank them. 5. You got no blanket idea what it's like to be number 1. Every decision you make affects every facet of every other blanking thing. 6. I've got this thing and it's blanking golden. And I'm just not going to give it up for blanking nothing. I'm not going to do it. And I can always use it. I can parachute me there. 7. Thank that mother blanker full of blank. He's shaking me down. 8. Our recommendation is fire all those blanking people. Get them the blank out of there. 9. I could have made a larger announcement, but I wanted to see how they perform by the end of the year. If they don't perform, blank them. 10. Jesus Christ. The money I've been dropping in here, I could have bought a blanking Ferrari. Okay. Match the term with the comment with the person who said it. All right? Now, at the end of my video in text form, you'll have your answer. It's time for you to name that goon. I love it.